Trae. Come on, it's the day with Trae. Trae, with Trae. With Trae. Come on, it's the day with Trae. Trae, with Trae. With Trae. Come on, it's the day with Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae,
Come on, come on.
with Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I get to welcome you to a Wicked episode. Really excited because I have some phenomenal stars in the building, y'all. I got Lauren Samuels here, who plays Elphaba in Wicked on Broadway across America. That's right here at Paramount Theater. And I also got Austen Bohmer, who plays Glinda in the show. Both of them are here to give us their perspective on not only these roles that so many of us have come to know and love over the years, but also what it's like to be here in the Seattle area, bringing this phenomenal show right here to the Paramount Theater. So I am grateful. I'm grateful that all of you are joining us today. And before I get into it with Lauren, I got to get into it with you, right? Because this is the top of the show. So it's the time where you get to go ahead and share this with people who you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness we work to give you here on The Day with Trae. And if you can't watch our TV show, you know we always got you covered because you can listen to us as well. Anywhere you find your favorite podcast, just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You'll find us on your favorite platform. Well, like I said, stars in the building. I want to get right to it. Up next, we got Lauren Samuels in the building, who plays Elphaba. What's up, Lauren?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I know you have a busy schedule, and I'm so grateful. I got to see the show last night, and let me just tell you, my 10-year-old son and I were just like this the whole time.
This is why we do it.
We're in awe.
Good.
You know, this story is new, so I want to hear from you a bit about your background. Then we'll kind of get into the role you're playing in Wicked.
Well, I'm British. Don't know what gives me away, but I am. I've been doing musical theatre as kind of a profession now for like 20 years, but this is my debut in the US and my very first time here in Seattle, so I'm very excited to be here. I found out that I'd got this role back in December, and this has been a bucket list role of mine since I very first saw the show in London's West End 20 years ago. I was like, please one day let me be painted green. And here I am. I found out I got the show 6 months ago, and it's just been such a bucket list dream of mine, and I feel really lucky to be playing the green girl.
Wow. I mean, you know, it's interesting because I was just talking about how we're seeing the storylines of so many characters that we grew up thinking we know the background stories. And this story takes on some different nodes and turns. What are some of those things that were exciting to you about this story, kind of coming of age, where we get to really understand who Elphaba is?
Right. We get to see the wicked witch. Is she wicked? Is she good? You get to decide for yourself as an audience. I think it's so exciting that you get to see this different side of a person who you think you know from these stories, right? You instantly, without even knowing anything about the wicked witch, go, she's wicked. Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. She's wicked. And so it's great that you get to dive back into her childhood and see where she started. Why is her skin green? Why does she have all this angst? What's going on in her journey? And I think that's such an exciting thing, particularly for an actress to play as well. Elphaba has this huge arc of a character. She starts the show so hopeful that she's going to be accepted and liked, and it doesn't really go that way for her. So yeah, it's a real joy to play.
Well, that for me is also really intriguing as someone who loves theater. And I started when I was young, 9, in theater, TV, all of that. So for me, it took me back to a place. And I'm sure that you probably have heard that from audience members of how it takes you back to something and then refreshes your entire perspective of the thing. But I always love to hear a little bit about how it is to be on this cast. I mean, it is a phenomenal cast. Y'all are turning it out on stage.
Thank you.
So tell us about that connection that y'all have been building over this time of working together.
Yeah, I mean, we have to get real close with each other, right? Austen and I, who plays Glinda, we're very lucky. We spend a lot of our show together, but kind of apart. It is about female friendship, right? And I love this underlying message in Wicked, the strong female friendships. But actually, we start as enemies, really, in the show. And we have this great journey together as well. And I, as Elphaba, it's actually quite a lonely track because I'm quite shunned by everybody. I'm quite bullied throughout the whole show. And it's very lonely off stage as well. I don't really get to see everybody as much as I would like. But Austen and I have this moment right at the start of the show, before the show even starts, where we connect with each other and we get to look in each other's eyes and go, have a great show. And we have the same thing at the end of the show. How was the show for you? Did you have a good time? Was there anything you wished was different, or how was the audience for you? And it's really nice. Everybody, we're always checking in with each other. The cast are amazing. We come into each other's dressing room. We're always, how are you today? If somebody's not doing as well, we're like, we've got you. We'll hold you up. We'll do this together, So it is, we're all very close. It's nice.
Well, you mentioned this is your first show coming to the U.S.
Yes.
So I got to ask, you're talking about seeing this 20 years ago, having a big dream of playing this role. How is it fulfilling your dream?
My God, I know. Here in the US, I'm making my debut playing Elphaba. Sometimes I'm still like, what? Really? Yeah, it's amazing for me because being a Brit, I have never been to any of the places that I'm on tour with this show, which is amazing because it's my job, but I'm also getting to explore and to travel. And the American audiences, I've got to say, compared to the British audiences, I'm used to, I think, a bit more of a reserved, perhaps stiff upper lip British kind of, but no. The audience here, they go wild. And it is sometimes like a cacophony of sound that comes from the audience. It is amazing. It gives me chills.
Wow, I can only imagine. And I actually love hearing that because for me, there's this thing that I love to really kind of scope out when I have folks like you on the show, and that's how is Seattle measuring up, right?
Right.
Like, when you're traveling all over the country, I like to know how we're showing up because there is something so special about live performance where the audience is a part of that, right? That feeding from the audience is real. And I really enjoy the ways that people around me are experiencing the show. And so it really has this collective nature that you don't get in like TV or film, right?
No.
And so I love hearing that, I'm glad Seattle is showing up for y'all.
They are. The audience, and you can really tell the audience, like you say, they do feed off each other. So the first time that somebody maybe whoops out loud, then someone else is going to, and it just becomes this big thing. So I love it. The Seattle audiences have been gorgeous.
Right on. Well, this being your first time in Seattle, I love hearing that you have a little bit of time to explore. Is there anything that stands out about our great city?
Well, Austen and I are actually living together here in Seattle, which is so nice, us two witches living together. We're in the Capitol Hill area. And so far, I'm just loving the food options around the area. There's so much. We only just got here. This is our first week, and the first week in a city is very busy for us. So we have to, sound check, get into the new venue. We're doing press, things like that. We had 2 shows yesterday, but we have time to explore. So I have lots that I want to see here in Seattle, lots to get into. So excited, yeah.
Well, okay, lastly, I just got to say, I always want to give someone a reason why they need to come and see this show. First off, I could tell you my reason, y'all, because it's freaking amazing. And it not only blew me away as someone who loves theater, but my 10-year-old son, who was like, wow. At intermission, he just grabbed me. He goes, Mom, this is great.
Oh, that's what I love to hear.
Yeah.
I love the younger audiences so much. We often see people in the audience that are dressed as our characters, right? I'm talking full green. Right. I see people full green, witches' hats, or maybe they've got tiaras, ball gowns, they're dressed as Glinda. And we meet these people at stage door, and that for me is the reason that I do theatre. I know when I was young, my mum took me to theatre, and I got the kind of theatre fever, the theatre bug as it was. I want to do that. When I meet these children at stage door and adults as well, and they're just blown away and they tell me how much it means to them, I'm like, oh, that's the reason. That's the reason that I do it. And, you know, in a climate that we're in at the moment, I hope that it just gives people a little bit of escapism as well. They can come to the theatre, they can forget their lives, forget the outside world for a moment, enjoy the beautiful music, the costumes, the scenery, laugh, cry, just escape their reality for a moment.
Yeah, it's so important, and you're absolutely right in terms of these times. So I appreciate you bringing your full self to that stage for the audience to experience and to enjoy. Of course, if people are wanting to follow up with you, stay tuned on all of your stops on the tour. I always love to give folks time to share their social media platforms. Look right there in this camera closest to me. Let folks know how they stay connected.
Guys, you can follow me on social media. I'm at Lauren Samuels 88.
Right on. Lauren, thank you so much for being with me today. Pure pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, y'all. I'm telling you, this is a great day indeed, and it is going to continue because after this short break, up next, I got Austen Bohmer in the building. We're going to be learning all about Miss Glinda. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae. Washington's charter public schools prioritize equitable learning opportunities for all students and strive for openness at every level. Teachers work with parents to build a trusting and supportive learning environment for students. To learn more, visit wacharters.org.
Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle is bringing a whole lot of star power to town as Taraji P. Henson and Hill Harper headline their 23rd annual breakfast happening November 22nd at the Seattle Convention Center Summit. Grab your tickets now at urbanleague.org.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Trae Holiday. We're teaming up with Public Health Seattle and King County to remind you that back to school time means making sure your kids are up to date on their vaccinations. Public Health Seattle and King County is offering free back-to-school vaccine clinics for kids ages 0 to 18 all fall. You heard that right, free. No matter what your insurance situation is, they got you covered. Getting your kids vaccinated is the best way to protect them from serious diseases like measles, mumps, and whooping cough, and it's required for them to attend school or childcare. So call your health clinic, pediatrician, or doctor today to make sure your kids have all their required vaccinations. You can also visit kingcounty.gov/find a clinic to find a clinic near you. Let's work together to keep our kids healthy and in school. Peace.
Africa Town Plaza is our latest affordable housing development project. It's 126 units of affordable housing over community commercial space.
It's the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 10 years, that I was able to design for people who look like me.
Africa Town Plaza is a beacon of hope.
Africa Town Plaza is a love letter to the community.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is Austen Bohmer, y'all. What's up?
Hey, Trae.
Hey, you know, so Glinda, or Glinda, I love it, right? I was so impressed with the wavelength of your talent. I mean, we're talking about a wide range here of poise and silliness. I want to hear a little bit about your background. What brought you into the world of acting?
Oh, I love that word, wavelength. Let's see. I'm kind of like a Shakespeare nerd. So I never really imagined that I was going to get to play this role. And I feel really, really grateful for it because, like you said, Glinda goes on a journey. And I've done a lot of musical theater in my life. I've also done Shakespeare. I've done classical stuff, whatever. I've done a lot of different things. And Glinda actually allows me to bring like all of myself and all of my experience to her because the comedy, the physical comedy, and also the like real heartache and like the real reckoning that happens in the second act is just a lot to chew on as an actor. So I feel like I'm feel like I'm getting to play this at a good time in my life and in the world, and I'm really grateful for that.
You know, it's beautiful to hear it too, because I'm always thinking about how characters reflect reality, right? Like all of these characters, there's things that we can all grasp a hold of in terms of what you're showcasing to the audience.
Yeah.
When you think about some of those things that maybe resonate with you so much, what are some of those top things that you feel like, man, this is really Austen?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think in Glinda's or Galinda's young life, she has this real desire to be perceived as good. And I think that women often have this desire. And I think that it gets in our way, because when you're so worried about being perceived a certain way, sometimes your actual actions don't line up with who you want to be. And that's what she goes through. And I do really identify with that. I think a lot of women resonate with that kind of plight. So that's a huge thing. And then I think in the second act, there's a real reckoning with, like, you actually can't trust the people that you put on a pedestal. You got to question. You got to question what people are telling you to believe. And it's a heartbreaking thing to realize that you've been led to believe something that isn't true. And so, yeah. Whew.
Oh, I love that.
It's deeply personal for me. It's deeply personal in this moment in time, and also in my life. And those are the things that kind of come to the top of mind about her journey.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, because I agree. You know, as I was watching you last night, I was thinking to myself how even for me, there's so many things that resonate in terms of, you know, my childhood growing up as a teenager even, and until now, my adulthood and being a mother with 2 sons and now a grandson, right? So like the depth of, you know, that self-reflection that you have to do at these different phases of your life. I really appreciated seeing the growth of the character overall. But there's so much fun here. And I mean, when you're talking about that physical humor and that reaction from the audience, I mean, I think some of it for me, it was unexpected. It was unexpected coming from Glinda.
I love to hear that.
Yeah. How do you feel like that quirkiness really gets to shine through on stage when you're getting into all of the nodes of that?
Yeah, totally. I think I like to think that Elphaba kind of frees Glinda up, that Glinda is so aware of how she's being perceived. She's quite confident. But when she starts this friendship with Elphaba, there is a kind of like, oh my gosh, this is like an actual friend, you know? And I don't think she's ever really had that before. Somebody who's really seeing her and actually listening to her. And so I think that her like silliness and quirk really comes out through that friendship. And the whole first act is just like such a joy to get to do, because even in the Emerald City number, Lauren and I are just sort of like looking at each other and like playing around. And it's like deeply joyful for me. And I hope that like some modicum of that is translated to the audience, because I'm having the time of my life up there.
I love hearing that, because that's exactly what I was experiencing last night. And I think so many around me, that's to me is like the magic of theater, is because yes, the scene, the costumes, like, oh my gosh, you know, everything really fits the story so well and brings it to life.
Yeah.
But there's something innate about all of you on stage who like are bringing that out, that we do feel it. It's like an energy exchange.
Totally. And that's the thing that's so amazing about theater, right? That like, I mean, I love films, I love movies, I love them, but like this is something that is happening for the first time in this moment, and it's different every night. You come to see the show tomorrow as opposed to yesterday, right? It's going to be a totally different show. And hopefully in the audience, it feels like we are getting lost in this moment that will never happen again. It's ephemeral, and it's like, it's so vital and juicy. And that's why I love theater so much.
Me too. And musical theater for me, because your voices are impeccable.
Thanks,
and
Trae.
to hear both of you singing, oh my gosh, the harmonies. Oh my God, Julie knows. I love I
love harmony?
I live for it, right? And so I just loved every moment with Glinda and Elphaba and having the time to hear both of your ranges so well. And y'all, I want to ask about how you work on that, because it comes through so clearly. It's not just about you knowing your range, but it's about being able to have that connection to her that I was seeing last night with your voices.
Oh, I love this. I love it. You're picking up on so many beautiful things. Nobody's ever named these things. Yeah, Lauren and I wrote Lauren a card a little while ago that said that, like, one of my favorite things about working with her is that I feel like oftentimes when we're on stage in moments like For Good, where we are in these beautiful harmonies, I feel sometimes like we are like locking into a third thing. Like, it's not her and it's not me, but there's like something in between that we're kind of plugging into. And I almost like vocally, I don't even feel like I'm aware necessarily of singing the way that I am when I'm alone. It's like we're just sort of symbiotically like finding this place where the two of our voices blend, and you can kind of get lost in that. It's like such a gift, truly. It's rare, and I feel really grateful to be doing it with Lauren.
Well, I gotta say, I'm glad that she was able to talk about the cast and y'all, connecting, coming on a, Broadway tour, it's a lot, right? How do you balance that? How are y'all caring for yourselves?
I mean, a lot of it is how we care for each other, right? Like, I think that this company, so the 8 principals who you saw last night, all came into the show together. We rehearsed together, which is kind of rare. So we really have a tight-knit little bond. And we try to take care of each other in these hard weeks. We write each other notes and we buy each other little gifts and snacks and things. And I'm always just like rubbing on people's backs backstage and like squeezing and trying to make sure everybody's good. But personally, like, you got to take slow time. I meditate and do yoga, and I'm always like biking. I travel a bike. So it's really good for me to have a bike where I can just like go for a bike ride and find these little bits of things that ground you when you're in a new city and your life is changing all the time. You try to find the small things that you can kind of like ground yourself in, the little habits.
That's good. That's good stuff. I'm glad you're able to continue that, as you go from city to city.
I try.
Talking about being in the city, I gotta ask, I know it's still first week for you, but what are some things that you're looking forward to in Seattle?
So far, on our days off, like traveling from Portland to here, I went to Mount Rainier and I snowshoed for the first time, which was like actually one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. It was really, really stunning. So I'm hoping to do more of that. I would love to be hiking more. And then, like, Seattle's so cool. I love vintage shopping. I love coffee. So it seems like Seattle's a good place for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited to get to explore all of those things a little more.
Well, lastly, I gotta say, why should folks come and see Wicked while y'all are here? We got till December 1st. We got some time. But what are those things that you feel are like so powerful about this show that people need to come and experience?
Yeah, I think I do agree that like an escape right now is, we need it. We really need it. But I think that a lot of people at the stage door over the past few days have said, like, it feels so cathartic to watch this show right now. There are a lot of deeper messages that you can engage with if you want. You don't even have to engage with them on an intellectual level. You can engage with them on like a somatic, sensorial level. I think like catharsis. There's a lot to feel right now, and Wicked will provide you a lot of joy and it'll give you a good cry if you need one at the moment.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I found myself getting so verklempt.
yeah,
It was so good.
Same.
Of course. Now, I got to give you the opportunity because folks are going to want to try to follow you,
Yeah.
figure out how to stay connected. I know you do music, both of you.
Yeah.
Look right there. Let them know how they continue to connect with you.
Yes, I am on Instagram as Plain Austen, which is the name that I release music under. I'm not super consistent on Instagram. I come and I go, but if you catch me, that's where I'll be.
Right on. Thank you so much, Austen, for being with
Trae.
me today. Wow. Y'all, I'm telling you, you got to get your tickets to Wicked. Go to stgpresents.org. Get there, get your tickets. Make sure y'all go to this phenomenal show. I get to wrap this all up right after this break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Disney and Cameron McIntosh's Mary Poppins comes to life on stage at the Fifth Avenue Theatre, featuring Step in Time and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Make it a jolly holiday at Mary Poppins. For tickets, visit fifthavenue.org.
A world of wonder awaits at Pacific Northwest Ballet's The Nutcracker. Treat your loved ones to the Northwest's favorite holiday tradition at Seattle Center's McCall Hall. Visit pnb.org.
Here on Back to Vesa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Vesa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to my phenomenal star guests today, Lauren and Austen, playing Elphaba and Glinda in Wicked right here in Seattle at Paramount Theater. Y'all, I promise you, it's very rare that I get to see the show before I get to interview folks like them. And it was blowing my mind the entire night. You definitely want to get there. This is a family-friendly show. Take your friends, take your kids, take your neighbors. This is one that you want to come to. And I agree with them. Now is a perfect time to have that mental getaway. And Wicked definitely provides that. But it's also so interesting to see not only the high level of talent, but the costumes and the set design and the lighting and the music. It all comes together in such a beautiful way. So I'm telling you, get your tickets today. I'm so glad I got to be there, and I want you to be there to experience it. But one thing I also want to say is when you find that passion, like we have seen and heard here today from these two phenomenal guests, you follow that passion. Something is pulling you into something greater than yourself. And I'm encouraging you always to figure out what that is for you so that you can also find your way to be a part of the solution. No matter what it is, we need you to tap in. Thanks so much for watching. You know I'll be back with you. And until then, at 11 a.m., peace.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.